What's going on, guys? K-Toy, good to see you. Yeah, New Year's Eve really isn't a thing until, like, late at night. Everybody's typically working during the day. Still haven't decided what I'm doing tonight. Everything's gonna be so fucking crowded. I hate crowds. I was gonna go to this little spot. They're having a nice little party down the street from where I'm at. But my girlfriend doesn't really like crowds. So probably just gonna get dinner and go back to her house and watch movies or something. We're introverts, so we're not partiers. I'm at home on my sofa. Yeah, that's the life, man. That's the life that I live most of the time. I feel like most traders are introverts. There's probably some traders who are extroverted, but I feel like most of us are definitely introverts. I've clicked the wrong button here. But how's everybody doing, man? I hope you guys are having a good holiday. I know it's approaching that time for you guys in Europe. You guys in Australia, you guys have already had your New Year. I think like east coast of Asia, I think you guys are also already technically in the New Year. But you guys in Europe and us in the United States, we still got some time. Like I said in Discord, I hate when Bitcoin finds volatility around these holidays. This is one of the main things that I cannot stand about the crypto market being 24/7 is on holidays or just on like Sundays or something, like days that you just want to relax. It gets super volatile, and if you're in any trades, you're just constantly looking at your phone or looking at charts and just panicking, basically. It's never a fun time when Bitcoin's volatile on holidays. I thought about just hedging my trade just so I can be at peace today, but I'm going to let it run. My trade was very, very poorly managed. I'm only in one big trade, basically all of December. I was in one big trade. It was a long that we started to build in the beginning of December when we had that first kind of dump. I started to build a long. Oh, I was messing with something here. Let me close this. I started to build a long. Let's see on the daily chart. It was around here, I believe. In the end of November, beginning of December. And we had multiple opportunities to close this for a... Or no, I don't think it was here. I think it was during this little dump here, I believe. Beginning of December. So we had multiple opportunities to close this for a nice gain. I could have closed it for like a 4% gain, 5% gain, basically 3 or 4 times. And we could have taken basically the same exact trade. I could have basically traded it as a range trade and just sold the highs, bought it again, sold the highs, bought it again. Obviously, that's hindsight. But I'd never even hedged it either. That was the big thing. So typically with my trading the past few months, I created, if you guys have been following me for about 5 months now, I created a new strategy about 5 months ago, 6 months ago, that's heavily reliant on hedging. And it's heavily reliant on basically, instead of closing my trades, I will use the other contracts on BitMEX to kind of play with my trades. I'll flatten them out, or I'll build a short position when I'm in a long position, yada yada, stuff like that. And basically all throughout December, I opened a long and I did nothing with it. I did not manage it. I didn't take profit. I didn't hedge it. I didn't flip short. Nothing. I took my long and I basically I've been letting my long run throughout all of December. And now obviously in the background I'm doing other things, working on the business, coming up with other indicators and stuff, which I have a really good idea for. Another indicator that will be a part of our bundle coming up. But yeah, I've been working on like Trend Spider stuff, Moodrex stuff, BitOrb stuff. It's been a very busy month. But looking back at trading, I've only taken 2 trades besides the competition. I'm not going to count the competition in my monthly report because it's a competition. But besides that, we've only taken 2 trades. I took a long, and let me look at the closed trades. I think I hedged it 1 time. I think I had 1 hedge. Let me go to the trade results here. Yeah, so we had 1 hedge. and I actually took a loss on my hedge, even though it was a very good hedge. I hedged it around 7,600, and we got stopped out on that last little stop hunt back at 7,600, which I believe was this move here. Or no, I think it was this one. It was this one here. I shorted the top here, and then that little wick that you see right there stopped us out. So that was the only other trade that I've taken since my long. So this has been the slowest month for me, trading wise, I think damn near all year. Which is mainly because I don't typically trade chop like this. I like finding trends. I like finding trend reversals. I like yeah, that's basically it. Just like trends, trend reversals. Everything can kind of fall into those categories. Reversal trading and trends and whatnot. I don't typically trade actively and stuff like this. I'm not a very big range trader. I don't really have any market making strategies that I employ. But this next competition on Interdax, I don't know when I'm going to do another one, but the next one that I do, I am going to be messing around with a market making strategy. And that's what you saw here at the start of stream when I was messing with these indicators here. So what I'll basically be doing is I'll be using the AutoSR and the Oasis Trading Suite. I'll be looking at all the levels and kind of finding support and resistance. And I'll be using these levels to basically market make and trade ranges. So I'll be buying the lows, selling the highs, buying the lows, selling the highs. Just basically repeatedly until a strong trend emerges. So that's the strategy we're going to be using on the next competition. Currently, I'm just using a basic, just trading, just standard strategy. But even this, even the competition, I've only traded about 5 times, and I'm stuck in a long right now. We're down a lot. I'm close to getting liquidated because I've just been adding on to my long. It's the only chance I have of winning or even getting into the top 20, is if we reverse into a long here. So instead of closing my long for a loss, which would have been the smart thing to do, I'm just buying into it. I keep adding into it. My current average is 73.35, so we're pretty far off. But if we do see a bounce here off this support, we could have a chance of getting into the top 20, but it's very slim. We'd have to bounce like 3% just for me to break even. So I posted this chart. I made this chart on stream. We posted this on Discord, and I kind of gave you guys a play-by-play. We had some sell pressure right here, and then it popped up and failed the sell pressure almost perfectly. It kind of got front ran a little bit. And then you nuke downward to the range. You tried to find support on that range, and then it broke the range. Resistance here, broke the range. Retested it with this scam wick. And then look at where we bounced. We bounced right off that support. So this chart has been in the Discord for a while. So hopefully you guys were able to trade off of it. I haven't been trading too actively myself, but I've been posting a ton of analysis. So hopefully you guys have been able to use my charts in your own trading. Let me see if I can find it. Here is the first time I posted it. We had that push up to the sell pressure and then the nuke downward. Pretty clean setup there. But yeah, overall, this New Year candle, let's go to the 12 months, go to the yearly. This New Year candle's, it's looking pretty ugly. Like, obviously, if you're not on a log chart, let's go to BLX. Hey, Andre, what's going on? If you're not on a log chart, this looks terrible. You had a pop-up to the highs here. You hit the highs almost perfectly, and then you nuked all the way back downward. And you had a 48% failure. We could also see that we had a... Oops, let's go to... Where is it? We have about a 70% retrace from this candle here. about a 70% retrace, which is pretty ugly. You're just below the 618 of last year's candle, which was 76. So that's pretty damn ugly. If we go to a log chart, this looks way better, obviously, because long-term Bitcoin is doing very well. I still think this candle is pretty bullish on a log chart. You see, like, we're just pulling back from a massive spike up. You broke into a new high, and you are pulling back. You're kind of profit-taking from that all-time high, that 22,000. So long-term, I don't think this is extremely bearish. But obviously, if you're looking at, like, a shorter time frame chart, maybe like a monthly or whatnot, you can see that we're pulling back pretty heavily. But we're still above the trail. So we still have some support coming in. Now, obviously, if you look back at the previous like 6 months, down wick, down wick, down wick, down wick, down wick, you have massive sell pressure basically the entire way. So not looking too great. And if you look at like your point of origin, kind of that failure, you'd be grabbing like a level like that, popped up to the point of origin, now we're failing. So very ugly. Let's go to like a weekly here. So even on a weekly, still not that bad. Like long term, this is still not as bad as people think. You're still finding support above the previous range before we broke down to like the 2018 low, 2019 low. So that support around like 65 to 7,000, still holding. Now, short term, if you're looking at kind of like just standard SR levels, this is looking pretty ugly because you have that support here, and now we're resistance. So very ugly SR flip that we have going on the weekly. You can see the OTS has turned black way back here. You had that last little throwback, and now you have the failure. And you can see long term, the OTS is pretty accurate when you have that white to black flip. As you can see, white, black, white, black, white, all the way up, black, white. So that black indicates, it's red on default colors, the black indicates a downtrend. It indicates that you're at a bearish kind of structure. And we're not giving us any signs of getting out of that bearish structure long term. So definitely not looking too good. We do have some support coming in on the 72 moving average. The 200 moving average is down towards like 5,600. We could see a test of that 200. We have not tested it since breaking it back here in 2019. So we could see a test of that level. That would be pretty good for bulls. Not bulls who are currently long, but bulls who are looking to get long. The daily still looks pretty bearish, obviously. We've had nothing but lower high, basically all the way down, just nothing but lower highs. Here's that weekly level. Let me delete that. And you can see the 72 moving average. We crossed below the 200. So I use a 200 EMA and a 72 moving average, so no, not an EMA. And we can see we have that death cross here. We have our trail acting as resistance. We have the daily sell signals coming in on the trail. So it's pretty bearish. Now, it does have signs of bullish strength. You can see you have kind of an inverse head and shoulders forming. You have like a Quasimodo forming here, where you have that stop run on the lows, but then you regain it as support. So this is one of my favorite patterns to trade, and that's why I'm getting long early instead of waiting for like confirmation, because this is one of my favorite patterns to trade. I like when you have that kind of support and then you break downward and then you regain that support. Now, it doesn't have to be a perfect head and shoulders. I don't really care about the head and shoulders. I don't trade that pattern very actively. A more common pattern that would be suited to this would be the Quasimodo, or even looking at my accumulation kind of distribution technique. It's the same thing where you have that kind of accumulation low, accumulation high, and then you have that failure, which becomes a deviation, and then you regain that low as support, that is a great buying opportunity. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. It's just a lot choppier than you would typically want it to look. So like if you grab the low here, you grab the high, this gives you that kind of accumulation range. And then you have that deviation right here, and now we are kind of regaining that low. Now, obviously, we haven't had that failure downward to that low, which is about 6,900, which I still will be buying. I thought about hedging here to get down to 69, but so far I'm not hedging. But as long as we hold 69, this is one of my favorite buying opportunities. Now, obviously, if we break below 69, it's looking really bad. And we probably will see that 200 EMA test. We probably will see a bear market for most of 2020 if we get below 69 and create a new low. Because you will have that accumulation turning into a markdown, and typically the markdowns will be pretty aggressive, unless it becomes something like this, which was very rare. You don't typically see stuff like this. This was a massive China FUD. There was a lot of China news that came out around this, so that kind of affected price. But yeah, that's basically what I'm watching here. You have that accumulation, kind of that Quasimodo, and it's still playing out. So even though it's really choppy, it's showing signs of bearish strength. Basically, every buy-up's getting nuked. It still long-term looks pretty bullish to me as long as we hold that kind of low there. Now, obviously, the weekly being black or being red, depending on what colors you're using, is bad news. And if we do see that bounce off that low of the accumulation, this really needs to turn gray or white very soon for me to start to get very bullish and for me to put more money into my long. Right now, I'm only about, I think, 1x, maybe 1.5x long. I'm really not that heavily long here. I have not been heavily trading on my main account all month. The biggest position that I'm in is the current one, which is about a 1.5x position. So nothing major. I'm looking to add on to it around that 68 to 69, probably build it to like a 2x, 2.5x. And then obviously if we show signs of bearishness below that level, I'll probably look to close or I'll look to hedge it. But I'm not getting very aggressive just yet. But yeah, that's my analysis of the new year. What I think is going to happen in the next few weeks to the next month. If you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to put them in chat. But that is my overall analysis, kind of midterm, long-term for 2020. If you guys are just coming in a little late, just feel free to go back and watch the VOD. Keithway said 200 EMA is where I've got most. I've got my next spot buys. Yeah, the 200 EMA on the daily is pretty good level. Sorry, the weekly. Right around that 5,000 to 5,500. It's definitely not too bad. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm getting a phone call. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah, that is basically my analysis for 2020. Nice little buy up coming in on the Renko. Let's take a look at the VWAP. VWAP bands holding as support here. We also have our piercing low acting as a perfect support. Buy pressure is not that strong. We only have about 1 million delta so far. We really want to regain that daily POC and that value area low here on that or today's range. So about 71.70 would be a really good level to regain. What are your thoughts for stocks? I think stocks are gonna do well as long as Trump wins the election. I think the market is going to continue upward. I think the market really likes what Trump is doing, even though a lot of people politically don't like it. I think the economy and just the market sentiment as a whole, I think people are on board. They're definitely on board. What Trump is doing with all of our trade deals and whatnot, it doesn't seem like he has negatively affected anything going on in the market. Now, obviously, the market, don't get me mistaken here, the market is not solely based on what the president is doing and anything like that, but the policies they put in place and the trade deals and whatnot, they definitely affect the market positively or negatively depending on how they react. And so far throughout his presidency, we had some little negative sentiment come in from his China deals. Basically, the fact that the China deals just kept getting postponed and they just were never being pushed forward. But I was just looking at our trade bot in our Discord, our news bot, and a bunch of articles are coming through saying that Trump and China are coming to a deal finally that should be finalized within the first few weeks of January. So I think the market is going to react positively to that. And I think as long as Trump wins the presidency, they're going to continue to react positively to most of his deals. So I think that 2020 is going to be a good year for stocks. That's why I'm going to look to get into semiconductors, and we put a bunch of ETFs out in the Discord that I'm looking to get into. And I wouldn't be getting involved in those if I didn't think the market was going to do well. We'd probably be waiting for more of a correction. But I think the market's going to do well. So I definitely see a new high coming in 2020 for sure. What's going on, Slither? What is up? Yeah, we called out a couple of stocks this week in our Discord. We called out APHA, did very well. We called out CGC, it did very well. So hopefully you guys in the Discord were able to get involved in some of those wheat stocks. They had very good. Oh, look at that! Right, bounced right off that level we were watching. It sucks that I didn't buy that. I'm already in APHA, so I basically made this pump anyway. Because they move pretty much the same way. But I could have definitely got involved in CGC as well. Yeah, see, basically the pump was the same. I'm already in APHA, so we're looking good. Hopefully you guys were able to get involved. Let's take a look at some of our other stocks we were looking at in the Telegram. DNR still doing well. VSLR pulling back. Viking pulling back. Nice little bull flag here on AKS. Keep an eye on AKS. Looks like we're retesting this range high way back here. If it holds this range high here, this could be a good play. Keep an eye on AKS Steel. Yeah, it's bouncing right off that zone we were watching. Right off that pivot on the OTS, looking pretty good. Let me post this in Discord, let you guys know. Billy, big gravestone, big shooting star here. Probably going to fail downward. Colgate starting to pump here. If it gets above the 200 EMA, this could start to move. Keep an eye on Colgate. Let's take a look. Uber pulling back to the trail, bounced right off of it. Beautiful, beautiful bounce there. Filled that gap beautifully. CGC obviously moving, went over that one earlier. Still watching for Fitbit. Fitbit looks pretty good. Peloton's starting to move as well. Failing that pivot, though. Bounced up and rejected that pivot almost to the dollar. Yeah, missed it by 4 pennies. Going back to crypto here, Ethereum looking pretty bearish compared to Bitcoin here. Nuked pretty hard. The daily had a double sell signal here on the trail, so if you got involved in that, it gave you a beautiful short for about 6%, basically no drawdown. What I'm waiting for here is the weekly on Ethereum. The weekly bull div is massive. It's still forming, so it could end up not being a div, and it could be a nuke here. But either way, I think Ethereum is a strong buy around kind of this level here. If we do nuke that far, I think around $100 is a strong buy for Ethereum. I don't think it's going to get that low, but if it does, I think that's an easy long-term buy. It's a very psychological number too, around that whole number. But yeah, this bull div here, if this plays out, this starts to get above like 140, you could really start to see a climb towards 175, about a 30% gain. So definitely watch for that bull div. Funny thing is, this piercing low that I have here lines up perfectly with this 1 hour pivot way back here. This pivot was about 6 days old, and price reacted to it pretty much perfectly. So very nice bounce off that pivot. You're also creating a new pivot as well. So looks really good for a small bounce here. Let's keep an eye on the buy pressure here. If you find resistance around 71.70, around this low, it's going to look really ugly because this is the value area low. So if we don't get back into the value area here, it's pretty bearish. Hey Sloth, he said, have you ever looked at Contango Oil and Gas, MCF? MCF. I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen this. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you guys as well. Not a bad chart. Pretty clean. Nice little clean trends here. Beautiful pivot. Beautiful trail flip. Beautiful bull div. Calling the reversal. Nice little buy signal there. Buy signal there. Yeah, it looks really clean. The indicators like this. They like this stock for sure. Nice little regain of that pivot. You bounced off that pivot here. Bounced off that pivot there. Led to that massive buy up. Yeah, the indicators do very well on this. I like this. I like this chart. We just had a golden cross here from the 72 and 200. Very weird momentum here. Massive spike up, but the momentum was still negative. If we bounce off the trail, it gives you a buy signal again. It could be a really good buy. Yeah, these buys are massive. Holy shit. About 60% on both of those. This pivot down here gave you a 240, 400%. Yeah, these buys are massive. If you have the indicators, I would definitely keep an eye on this. MCF, not too bad. I'm going to add this to my watch list for Telegram. I like that. You looking for an ASHR call? Let's take a look. Very, very choppy chart. A lot of dojis. Yeah, not too bad. The weekly's pretty solid here. Buy signals all throughout the past few months. You regain the 200 EMA, the trail's popping up. You do have a pivot coming in as resistance. Not too bad, though. The volume's very low as well. You just paid a dividend not too long ago. Ooh, that monthly. That monthly's really good. The monthly is breaking above the pivot. Your volume's starting to increase. Your momentum's starting to increase pretty rapidly. Yeah, that monthly looks really solid. You're selling covered calls. Sloth, got it. On C, what was that? What was that other one? On Contango, yeah. You've been in since $1? Nice. You're looking for calls. You missed it today. Didn't get filled for 0.09. Are you looking for short term or long term? Because long term it looks really good. Short term, it's hard to chart short term. These gaps are insane. There's way too many gaps. Look at how many gaps. The gaps every single day. Jesus. It literally has a gap every single day. Look at this. It gaps every day. That's so funny. I've never seen something gap every single day. This is an ETF, so obviously it's based on other things. It's a derivative, but I'm not sure what it's Here, let's look this up on ETF database. I don't know what this actually is tracked by. Or what's this tracked? Or tracking, sorry. Hard to think and talk. ETF database. They have a lot of assets. Their AUM is really good. Fucking mouse wheel, man. They're mainly focused on China. It's mainly involved in financials, so it's involved in Chinese financials and industry, consumer non-cyclical, and so consumer goods, industry, and financials are the top three. It's going to benefit from the USA-China deal. That's a good point. That's a very good point. And the monthly looks really good. I might actually get involved in this. I like this. Good call, dude. This could be big for Q1 2020. Their beta is pretty good, 1.28. This is why I love ETF database. I think ETF database is by far the best ETF website. There's like nothing even close. If you guys are big into ETF trading or you're looking to get into ETF trading, ETF database. You know what we could probably do? I'm actually going to talk to Sticky about this. We could probably create a bot for Discord that pulls this data. Because I'm very big in ETF trading. I like ETF trading a lot. And I think a lot of people would benefit from ETF trading. This has a lot of data we can pull from. I'm messaging Sticky right now. I'm going to send in this link too. Alright, so let's get back on track. I wanted to make sure I sent him that message before I forgot, because that would be really cool to have in Discord. We're currently looking at Asher, ASHR. This looks really good long term. I think this could be a good play for first quarter of 2020. Basically, first quarter of 2020, you're looking at basically this right here. You could even go into like second quarter of 2020. The only problem I have with this is this pivot right here. This resistance is pretty strong. You can see that it even goes back further to kind of where we are here. We have this kind of low before we break down. This is a lot of resistance here. But if it gets above this, as you can see on the monthly, there's like nothing above it. The biggest resistance we have above that is right here. Around 3140. You have about 6% until you get there. Where is my ETFs? I can't show this on stream because this is for Discord. Let me pull this over for a second. Yeah, good call, Slither. I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'm probably going to play just the ETF, though. Probably not any options. You're going to try again on Wednesday? Yeah, is the market's closed tomorrow, I think, isn't it? It's either closed or a half day. Do you only trade crypto? No, I trade stocks and options and... yeah, I trade stocks, options, and crypto. I don't trade forex. Forex is like the only thing I don't trade. I'm taking a break from options for a little bit and going back into building portfolios and trading stocks with my options account. But I don't just trade crypto. Crypto is my main trading fund. Most of my money goes into crypto. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's probably around 80-20, 75-25. Posted that chart in Discord a week or so back for RLC. RLC Bitcoin, nice 30% bounce off the daily 618 daily support level. Might look at a low time frame entry. Yeah, massive move here, geez. Ton of volume coming in. Nice little bottom signal on the Momo. Oh yeah, weekly, beautiful. Perfect bounce off the daily trail. You had a buy signal on the trail around 52. About a 20% gain. Not bad. 4 hours running into the 200 EMA. So hard to buy it here if you're not already in. I'd probably wait for another 618 pullback or another test of that doji. Yeah, which lines up almost perfectly. You see that doji there? You have that buy zone like right on that doji. That could be a nice little spot to pick it up. What kind of stocks are you into? I'm into a bunch of stuff. Right now, I'm in Peloton, Zuo, APHA. I'm looking to get into CGC. Mainly like weed stocks and just other stocks that I found that I liked long term. Yeah, CGC moved nice today. APHA, all the weed stocks moved nice today. Take a look at eBay. Let's take a look. Yeah, eBay, nice here. Nice little breakout on the hourly. You kind of bounced off the 200. You gave it a little bit of a sweep. Four-hour, beautiful bounce off the pivot. Daily bounced off the trail almost to the dollar. It probably actually bounced off the trail here, but when it pushed down, it sometimes will push the trail. You guys have probably noticed that if you're trading it live. But yeah, almost a perfect bounce off the trail there. You regain the pivots, looking really good. Yeah, solid play here. I like this. You could go for a gap fill. You do have a lot of resistance ahead, obviously. You're looking at the range high, basically. I'd probably take like this doji as the range high, because that candle's kind of an exception. But we also have that level up there you gotta watch out for. Yeah, 618 would be ideal. Yeah, it would definitely be good on RLC. You said you have CGC January 17th, 2020. So I'm hoping it continues. Yeah, the wheat stocks look pretty good. Like I said in our Telegram, I was talking to somebody in our Telegram. I don't think it really matters who wins the presidency. I don't think they're going to get too heavily involved in trying to stop the weed industry. I think the weed industry is like a freight train at this point, and it's going to destroy anything that gets in its path. I don't think even the Republican Party is going to try to put heavy regulations on the marijuana industry. I think they're starting to realize that pretty much everybody, not just like liberals or Democrats, like basically the entire country is getting behind the marijuana industry. So I don't think, even if Trump wins again, I don't think he's going to try to put any hard regulations on it. So I think the weed industry is going to do well in 2020. My favorite wheat stock right now is APHA. It's one that I called out a while ago in our Telegram. This is my favorite one. This one's looking really good. If we regain this pivot above like $5 to $6, I think it's looking huge. I think this could easily go back to $10, maybe even run for the highs. Obviously not in like 2020, just 2020. I'm thinking like long term, probably the next 2 to 3 years. I think this could really go for a run here. They have very good fundamentals. I'm not going to get into it too much on stream, but if you do some research on their fundamentals, they are one of the best wheat stocks fundamentally. Their earnings are starting to flip too. I think they're preparing themselves to become very profitable in the next few years. You said you first got in at $6, watched it go to $8, then down to $3. You added some to average down. Yeah. Yeah, I think averaging into these wheat stocks long term is not a bad idea. As long as they're fundamentally on the right track, like they're not getting more dead and they're just killing themselves with negative revenue. I think they're good to invest in. Weed stocks are there's going to be a year. We've already kind of seen it, but I think there's going to be like 1 year that really just blows it up. It's going to be like the internet bubble. I don't think it's going to be as powerful as the internet bubble because it doesn't fundamentally change our way of life like the bubble really did, and like the internet stocks. They fundamentally changed our way of life. That's why the internet bubble was so huge. But I think there is going to be like a weed bubble. I think when marijuana, the industry really starts to take off and the regulations really start to pull back, and like something which will probably not happen for a long, long time. But even if they took marijuana off the Schedule 1 list, that would be massive. You would see massive buy pressure coming on almost every weed stock. It would be mania if they took that off the Schedule 1 list. And if they federally decriminalized it, which could not happen for the next like 10, 20 years, who knows. But if that ever happened, you see what I'm saying? Like it's going to be like an internet bubble. There's going to be mania when it comes to buying weed stocks. So preparing for that, you'll definitely make a lot of money if it ever happens. If it doesn't happen, it was worth a shot. Obviously, don't put your life savings into it. But if those two things ever happen, it gets taken off the Schedule 1 list, or if it gets decriminalized federally in the United States, obviously, the stocks are going to do very well. People say short healthcare if a Democrat gets elected, but long marijuana. Yeah, so that's what I've said on stream as well. I think healthcare stocks are going to continue to do well. The sector is going to continue to do well if Trump wins. If Trump loses, I think the healthcare industry is going to get hit because Democrats obviously lean towards a more socialist kind of form of healthcare, and that is not good for privatized healthcare industries. I think the market as a whole is not going to like if a Democrat gets elected, because the thing with the Democrats nowadays, and not getting too political here, but looking at it from an economical standpoint, the thing with the Democrats nowadays is they're not just Democrats, they're becoming socialist. The Democratic Party is very quickly becoming a socialist party, and that is just not good for the stock market. So if one of these very socialist people become president, the stock market is not going to like it, and a lot of these stocks are going to get hurt. Hey, Nader, what's going on? I wouldn't make too many long-term bets before the election. Obviously, after the election, you'll have a better idea of like what's going to happen in the future. It's 2019 in France. It's still 2019 here as well. The only people in the future right now, I think, are like Eastern Asia and in Australia. Good thing we can short the market. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think if you're waiting to put a lot of money into the market, I'd probably wait till after the election. I don't think they're going to win. I think Trump's going to win pretty easily, but that's also another thing that's really scary because most of the nation is kind of, or I wouldn't say most of the nation, but there's a big portion of the nation that is kind of where I am, and they think that Trump is going to win pretty easily. So if he loses, it's going to have a pretty drastic effect on the market, I think. I think a lot of people are betting on stocks thinking that Trump is going to continue to be our president. But if he loses, then it's going to be some capitulation. I'm going to play with the SPY. The SPY looks really good. I think the SPY, like I said, is going to continue upward as long as Trump continues to be our president. The market seems like it's reacted very well to Trump. We're almost approaching that 618, that 1618 here. $331 would be the major target. What do I think about silver? So silver and like gold and all the commodities, they've been doing very well. The problem is if the market really starts to rally here, the metals are not going to do well. Because metals are typically inversely correlated with the SPY. So if the SPY does very well, the metals are not going to do that well. Now, obviously, they can trend upward when the SPY is trending upward, but they trend upward heaviest when the SPY is trending downward. As you can see, kind of after the financial crisis, they trended very heavily upward. What is silver currently? Yeah, I want to do something real fast just to play with it. Will that work? Oh, it's not going to work. I was trying to compare their charts by putting them together. Gold's been doing very well, though. Gold's looking really good. Oh yeah, I can't use this ticker. I gotta use another ticker. This ticker doesn't like my indicators for some reason. There we go. Trump's gonna win. I can even bet on it. You can bet on it. If you go to predict it, there's a website you can bet on all that. You said you have an order block from 71 to 73 on the 4 hour. Are you talking about Bitcoin? I mean, even during the recessions, metals, well, like everything died during the recession. There's no safe haven. Yeah, I mean, during, like, obviously, if there's corrections, like small little pullbacks, they typically inversely correlate. If there's a massive correction, like a recession, then obviously, damn near everything, unless it's an inverse, damn near everything gets destroyed. Yeah, the only way to get out of or to bet on a recession is to trade volatility, like trade the VIX and do inverse SPY, inverse financials, stuff like that. BAT BTC, that daily level gave a bounce, 618 pullback on the 4 hour. Take a look. Oh yeah, we called this out a long time ago. Somebody asked us about this. It was probably even you. I can't remember. But this bull div here. Look at that bull div. Massive bull div popped up here, and now we're starting to pull back. But the daily trail flipped bullish, and you're back above the pivot here. So definitely signs of support. Looking pretty good. Looks very solid. That bull div there was pretty huge. We could even look for a... Oh, I gotta flip this. We could look for a bearish fib here. So here's your bearish fib. We're hitting the 382 and now we're failing. So your kind of massive resistance would be around that 50 to 618, which could be a nice target. If you bought here and then targeted that range, wouldn't be too bad. About a 15-20% gain. Oh, you said on Bitcoin the order block? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of support around that range, 71, 73. Looks like BAT BTC is coming into that VWAP as well. You have a nice VWAP level right below price. Bitcoin popped up and failed its VWAP pretty hard. Bitcoin's just on a bleeding spree, just bleeding all the way down. Nice little support here. We need to see how it reacts to this value area low here. It's also the range low here, so it's going to be pretty big. Yeah, Sticky said that we probably can build a bot for that ETF database. It's going to take some... we have to break it down a lot, though, because there's so much data. It would have to be broken down into a lot of commands. If you guys are in the Discord, if you trade stocks and options, make sure you check out our Oasis bot. Here, I can show you. Make sure you check out our Oasis bot here. If you go to the pinned messages, it has all of our commands. So, like, if we want to look at... Let's look at TCS. Let's look at the marijuana stock we were talking about. We'll go ahead and retrieve data on that stock. So, like, let's see what else we want to do. We can do... let's do overview here. We can look at overview. It'll give us a nice little overview. We could also do... Let's see... We could pull up options if you want to look at options. Let's see. I haven't used this options command in a while. It's OP and then the ticker. You do the ticker, expiration. Make sure you do the year first. So you do the ticker. You want to make sure you do the year first. So let's do January. I think 17th is one of the options. And then you do call or put. And then it pulls up the option chain. So make sure if you guys trade stocks or options, take advantage of that. We put a lot of time into a lot of the bots and stuff in Discord, so hopefully you guys are getting your money's worth. Hey Slytherin, you said, why do lots of people trade crypto coins when there are zero assets to support their coin? It's basically like penny stocks, man. Pretty much every single crypto coin trades like a penny stock. They don't give a shit what the company is. They don't care what the fundamentals are. They just trade it to make money. That's how I used to trade penny stocks. That's basically how I trade crypto nowadays. I don't really give a shit like what the company is or what it does or what their team is doing or anything like that. I just look at the technicals and see if it can make me money, and then I trade it. And I feel like pretty much everybody has that kind of same mentality. Alright, Keith, let's look at your charts here. Yeah, really nice fib here. Bouncing off the 382. Really nice. That's on the 4-hour. Yeah, I remember this chart. I remember we looked at this chart on stream when you posted it. Very clean SR. No, that's a standard fib. That's a standard fib. He's taking bottom to top. You can see the trend line. If the trend line is going from left to right, it's a regular fib. What are you looking at here? You're looking at... Yeah, that long term. Is this a log chart? If you're drawing trends like that, you want to be using a log chart, especially on a 2-week chart. Anything over a daily, you really want to be using log. The monthly 21 EMA on Bitcoin is 70.90. Today is the monthly close, so a close below it would be a real bad. It's at 70.90. Yes, we're just barely above it. We talked about this a lot on stream before. If you look at the... You look at the 10 and 21 EMAs, they give you a pretty good judge of long-term price. You can see the 10 and 21. The 10's obviously the orange. Looking at these on a weekly, they're pretty good at judging like your long-term trend. And you can see how we had a cross down right back here. And now we're trending downward. Very, very simple trading for people who are long-term traders. And on the monthly, pretty much the same thing. Looks pretty good. Let's go to a log chart here. Let's go to BLX. It'll be better on BLX. Yeah, so we had a very nice uptrend here. You had one little dip downward, which ended up being kind of a trap on the monthly. And now we're testing the 21 EMA as a support. You had two little wicks below it, and now we're kind of testing it as support. So this is actually pretty bullish if you're looking at just these EMAs. So if we got back above the 10 EMA, back above 78, this is looking very bullish long term. It's kind of what we saw here. The problem is this nuked downward, so we don't want to see this again. Unless obviously you're a bear. Yeah, very simple. Very simple trading here. Even on the daily, it helps you clean up the kind of the trend as well. When the 10's below the 21, you're in a bearish trend. When the 10's above the 21, you're in a bullish trend. Pretty close to crossing up here, but it got nuked. Very standard stuff. I just posted a ton of Ichimoku screenshots in our crypto section in Discord. So if you guys are Ichimoku traders, make sure to check out those screenshots that I posted. I did a lot of analysis on Ichimoku earlier today. I used to be a big Ichimoku trader, but I've kind of gone back to trading my regular trading strategy with my new indicators. Do you have a hodl position? I'm just now starting to build one. I'm long 7150. It's very small though. I'm only like 1.5x. There's nothing major. All of my holdings are in Bitcoin though. So if Bitcoin goes down, I lose a lot of money, cash value. If Bitcoin goes up, I make a lot of money, cash value. I have all of my holdings sitting in Bitcoin. I don't tether my holdings. I don't pull them out into cash. I feel better sleeping on Bitcoin than I do sleeping on cash. The idea is that long term I'm bullish on Bitcoin, so I just keep it in Bitcoin. You gave me the same chart that you posted earlier. Oh, sorry. You're basing it on the moving average. I see. I've never personally traded a halving, so I don't really know what to expect. I trade purely on technicals, so I'm just really gonna have to see what it looks like when we get closer to the date. I don't care too much about fundamentals. I've never really been a fundamental trader. That's why I don't look too far into the future. I trade kind of on short-term fundamentals. Yeah, the position I'm building is not really a hodl position, though. It's just like I'm building a long to hold on to for a longer term, but I'll obviously take profit. I have plans to take profit on my long around like 84 to 86. It's not going to be a position I hold on to forever. My biggest trade of the year was me and Sticky basically sold off all of our crypto at the same point. I sold off my crypto, all of my holdings I put into cash. So, like I said, all of my holdings right now are in Bitcoin. I sold all of my Bitcoin around 13,000. So my average was 12.7. I sold a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but my average was about 12.7. So basically the top here, I sold the top pretty much. We did that live on stream too. So if any of you guys don't believe me, you can ask anybody who was on my stream back in the day. But I sold all of my crypto, put it into cash around 13,000, and I just started buying it all back around these lows here, around this area here, around 78 to 75 is where I've started to buy all my crypto back. So even if we nuke here, I still made just on average about a 40% gain in Bitcoin. Even on the lowest side, about 30%. On the highest side, about 45. So even if we nuke here, I'm not too mad. We did a really good job selling the top. How did I catch the top? Just using my indicators. It looked really extended. My indicators were giving multiple sell signals on basically every time frame. So we just got out of it. I didn't see any strength really above 13,000. It kept getting nuked. We sold early though, so I sold it on its way up. So I got scared a little bit for a little bit when it started to push towards 15. So we sold basically here before this last little pump. So when it started to doji here and then it broke out like one more time, I sold. This candle here was where I sold. So looking at the daily, we sold at a really good time, but it started to scare the shit out of me because I sold around 13,000, 12.7, and it started to push towards 14,000. That's a pretty big push. Even though it doesn't look that big, let's see what percentage-wise. Percentage-wise, that's a pretty big push. Yeah, it's like a 10% push. So it started to scare me, for sure. But then the next day nuked, and I was like, okay, here we go. So basically, after it nuked, I was not going to get back into Bitcoin long-term until we started to see consistent buy pressure above that high, and we never did. So I just held on to my cash until we nuked way down here, and then I started to buy my cash back around 78. We got nuked a little bit. I bought a little bit more, and then basically the rest is history. I've just been kind of buying back in since. I still have a lot of cash, but I'm back in as much Bitcoin as I had before. Plus a little bonus, obviously, from the failure. Have you messed with Bitcoin options? No, I haven't. But Sticky Sticky trades options on Bitcoin and Ethereum. He does quite well. Sticky is the my partner trader in the Oasis Trading Group. We are the two main traders. You said it got rejected by a 382 this year. Let's take a look. Yeah, it did. If you go from the all-time high to the bottom, yeah, I like that. Nice little failure of the 382. There's a lot of levels that lined up there. It just kind of was a confluence of resistance. But all right, guys, I got to get going. New Year's Eve festivities are going to begin soon. Hopefully, Bitcoin doesn't nuke while I'm away from my house. It probably will, because it typically does. But yeah, guys, hope you guys have a good New Year. I know a lot of you guys, it's getting pretty late for you. You're approaching 2020. I think you guys are about 2 hours away. Most of you guys in Europe. You guys in the United States, we still have quite some time, but I hope you guys all have a happy New Year, man. We had a really good year. I really want to take this time to say thank you. You guys have been a huge part of my 2019. We started pretty slow in the beginning of 2019, and then I started to get very active on stream. I got very active on YouTube, and you guys really showed support for both of my channels, especially the YouTube. The YouTube has blown up. We only have been active on YouTube since like August, and we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So I really appreciate you guys coming from YouTube. I appreciate you guys on Twitch that have watched my YouTube content. 2019 has been a great year for me. Our trading has been very good. The past like 4 or 5 months, we've had some really exceptional gains. So yeah, man, 2019 has been huge. I really thank you guys for being there with me. And 2020, I hope will be just as good, if not better. So we'll definitely be very active in 2020. Our group's going to get bigger. Our indicators are probably going to get bigger. We're going to release some new products. We even have a new product coming to you guys very soon that we've already teased a little bit, but a lot of you new guys probably haven't seen it. But we got a lot of stuff coming in 2020, so I hope you guys stick around. You guys, hope you guys have a good night, man. Stay safe if you guys are drinking. Obviously, don't be drinking and driving. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you. Happy New Year to everybody. I will see you guys not tomorrow, but I will see you on Thursday. So you guys have a good New Year. Stay safe. I'll see you guys Thursday. Peace out, guys.